Ladies and gentlemen, many prominent liberal Democrats or pundits on the left have deactivated or deleted their Twitter accounts. You have thousands upon thousands of what they say are bots leaving the accounts of celebrities and left-leaning spokespeople or whatever, famous people who just always side with the Democratic Party. They're like, I lost 8,000 followers on Twitter. Well, that's because very likely these people have thousands of actual human beings who don't want to be on Twitter anymore because Elon Musk will allow actual speech, debate, discourse, discussion, dialogue. If you don't like somebody, you can actually block them. So one liberal or left-leaning voice said, "I'm deleting my account. This is going to be a haven for monsters and bad people." It's like you can actually block people. I don't have Twitter. I don't have Facebook. And guess what? I actually filed a police report on a Twitter account, that went after my life or threatened me. And I gave the direct messages to the police officer at the LAPD, and I filed an actual police report. You can do that. There are existing laws that, believe it or not, predate Twitter. So the laws that existed before Twitter pertaining to speech and harmful words or harmful statements, those laws still exist. Those laws will still exist even when Elon Musk allows people to give their views. Even if you say, oh my God, extreme conservative views are going to be on the site, there's going to be so much, negativity. Well, you can't get any more negativity than the way it is, but you don't have to actually interact with those people. If somebody, I'm kind of like giving like a public service announcement for people who are frightened that Twitter will actually allow dialogue and speech and not ban or suspend the New York Post for actually breaking a legitimate true story, Hunter's emails. That wasn't against Twitter guideline. But the Steele dossier, or that was against Twitter's guideline, but the Steele dossier apparently was not, which was completely fabricated and false. So BuzzFeed wasn't suspended. The New York Post was suspended. Gee, what's the common denominator here? Every story or every pundit or personality or individual that happens to, or every story that hurts Democrats is silenced or suppressed on Twitter. The New York Post is a prime example. BuzzFeed is another prime example. BuzzFeed published information that was categorically false, literally purchased by Trump's direct political rivals, and it was allowed to flourish without any problem. There weren't any, anything like, any like little disclaimers. Caution, this is actually the work of Trump's direct political rivals, the Clinton campaign and the Democratic Party. You never got that. But with everything Trump said, this is caution. Experts agree Trump is wrong. Ask the Washington Post. But hit subscribe to this channel. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel below in the pinned comment. This is a very important segment. Elon Musk, and there's going to be people, I don't like the title. It's like, well, no, read the entire title, please, and understand that, yes, Elon Musk, just by virtue of buying all of Twitter, has already deleted accounts without even, actually deleting them himself. These people are leaving Twitter, and they're leaving because left-leaning ideas need an echo chamber. Some conservative ideas also need an echo chamber, but most left-leaning ideas need a kind of cult echo chamber platform, a forum where there's no dissent, and any critique, logical, rational critique, is viewed as harmful speech. So you'll have, it could be any topic. You'll have a fabricated consensus, a consensus that's completely manufactured. And anyone who offers a dissenting opinion will eventually be unpersoned or deplatformed or depersoned or suspended or banned or cease to exist in a digital format on Twitter. And therefore you get this these liberal sensibilities infused within the algorithm, where anyone deemed as an affront upon democracy, which has been redefined as the Democratic Party's interests, or the sensibilities of morally superior, highly educated, but oftentimes apoplectic liberal Democrats, anybody that falls outside of of what is deemed as civilized or appropriate or decent is kicked off of the platform. The reason is because, for example, if you wanted to talk about Hunter's emails, we can go back to Hunter's emails because there's no way you can actually refute. I mean, there are a lot of topics that even we can't talk about on YouTube. But Hunter's emails, if you talked about the clear, obvious pay-to-play schemes, you were suspended on Twitter. You certainly couldn't even talk about it on this platform 2 years ago. All they do is the following. They work in conjunction with the Washington Post and other publications. And James Clapper and 100 other or 50 other former intelligence officials who would never tell a lie, of course they did under oath numerous times, but who have always been right, from the Gulf of Tonkin, or from the Bay of Pigs to the Gulf of Tonkin to WMD to Facebook ads to completely the past couple of foreign policy nightmares under mashed potato brains, our president. They've always been right. And these intelligence officials will say, Hunter's emails are the work of another country. And then Twitter will say, we have a guideline and protocols against influence from other countries. Nothing's been proven. And then they suspend the New York Post. Or Trump, he compelled people to commit violent acts. Of course, he wasn't accused of this in a court of law ever, but Twitter felt that way. I mean, you could go on forever. Democratic politicians who say get in people's faces or that they want to assault Trump and all of these things, no, their accounts aren't suspended. But if you don't like a viewpoint, then you simply defeat the viewpoint with reason and logic. It's so simple. You don't cry and complain and say that the sky is falling and democracy is being tarnished by more speech. Democracy relies on debate and discourse and discussion and dialogue. The Democratic Party's version of democracy is silencing and suppressing others, forming a fabricated consensus where any dissent literally has to worry about, facing homelessness because the economic consequences are severe and swift, and blaming Moscow for everything, as if this was the Cold War, as if this was the McCarthy era and the Red Scare, is alive and well. But what they don't realize with Elon Musk buying the company and essentially deleting all of these accounts, he didn't even read the title in its entirety, please. He doesn't, with Democrats and morally superior left-leaning pundits, people on the far left, what they don't realize is the following. The Washington Post, Twitter and the Washington Post are the two greatest advantages that the Democratic Party has. And the New York Times and MSNBC and CNN and The Atlantic and Vanity Fair and Esquire and Mother Jones and The Nation and BuzzFeed and Vice and Time Magazine and The New Yorker, New York Magazine, and all of Hollywood and all of late night, Jimmy Kimmel, Stephen Colbert, Seth Meyers. If they don't have every single possible advantage, their ideas don't work. They went from Trump is a menace to democracy because he was installed by the Kremlin, which was completely false and fabricated and a complete lie, to the Washington Post, democracy dies in darkness, as you had reporters within the Durham Probe Special Counsel conversing with Fusion GPS, along with New York Times reporters conversing with Fusion GPS. This is also, by the way, in 2016 when media converged with the Democratic Party to cheat Bernie Sanders in various ways. It's within the DNC emails, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz was forced to resign. And then they said, well, Trump was installed by the Kremlin, and we don't really agree that he was a legitimate, Trump was legitimate. And then Trump says, no, that's not legitimate. And they say, oh my God, democracy! And so, but see, they don't realize that Twitter, they're giving up their most important, the most important advantage they have because it's been taken away from them. The algorithms, the ability to silence and suppress and marginalize and disparage dissent, suspend and ban any dissenting opinion or any conservative opinion. They're leaving the platform, and it's actually and had if these people actually stayed and actually wanted to battle, or not battle, like wanted to counter and prove to the world that their ideas and their policies are better than Trump's ideas or better than conservative policies. But see, the thing is also, they won't do that, but they certainly won't engage in a competition of emotion, like a competition or an exercise in trying to promote suspicion and frustration and contempt, disdain, and judgment and condemnation when Republicans or Trump Republicans or conservative pundits or extreme conservative pundits are now given a platform to actually create or spread those emotions. Suspicion now is going to be leveled both ways. See, Twitter was about suppressing emotions that were detrimental to the Democratic Party and highlighting and amplifying emotions that were beneficial, primarily casting doubt on Trump and suspicion against him and everyone around him, based on the maniacal and absurd rantings and ravings of intelligence chiefs and morally superior, wonderful, highly educated journalists. Now, every hit piece out there, every time a journalist at one of these lofty publications wants to ruin somebody, there's going to be a response on Twitter. A response saying, hey, wait a second, we're suspicious of your motives. And anyone suspicious of the motives of an intelligence operative that just always happens to side with the Democratic Party, that suspicion won't be silenced or suppressed or erased from digital history on Twitter. I'm trying to I don't know if I'm communicating my thoughts effectively, but Twitter is a way really to either suppress or to amplify emotions. It's about emotions, feelings, and suspicion, doubt, highlighting ideas through either their merits or through the emotions attached to those ideas. So what Democrats and the left do oftentimes is their ideas don't make any sense, but they will cloak those ideas within immense within a whole number of emotions. So God forbid, there's a tragedy. Some madman in a blue state, in a city run by Democrats, uses a firearm to commit an atrocity. And then they'll say, you see, we need more laws. You see, we're right all along. It's like, no, it's happening in a blue state. Don't you get it? Don't you get it? So now you're going to have perhaps pushback from conservatives who won't be suspended immediately if they cast doubt on the absurd claims of Democrats stating even more laws will protect people when the criminals don't follow the laws to begin with. Anyway, that's just an example. I mean, the Hunter Biden example is like the perfect example. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel right now. He is deleting accounts without even deleting accounts. Please read the entire title. This is a very important segment. There's a lot of there's a philosophical angle to this segment that I don't think I communicated effectively, but it's there. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. Thank you so much.